Let's get ready to rumble!
Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, cast your mind back a decade. May 2015, the fight of the century, right? Floyd Mayweather Jr. versus Manny Pacquiao. It completely smashed all financial records, broke everything. But, you know, for a lot of people, it left this kind of empty feeling, a palpable void of sporting satisfaction, you could say. But here's where it gets really interesting now. Against, well, frankly, all odds. Those whispers, they've turned into something louder. We're actually talking about a potential rematch between these two icons, really. Mayweather's 48 now, Pacquiao 43rd, and they're talking about maybe 2025.
Yeah, it's wild. And what's truly fascinating here, I think, is that this possibility, it's not just appearing out of nowhere, it's more like a domino effect.
Yeah.
The whole idea, the entire architecture of a potential Mayweather-Pacquiao II, it really hinges on one single moment. A very high-stakes moment, Manny Pacquiao's challenge for the WDC welterweight title against Mario Barrios. That's happening July 19th, 2025. That's the key.
Yeah. Absolutely. And for you, our listener, our mission with this deep dive is pretty clear. We want to give you that definitive, multi-layered analysis, looking at the sporting challenge Pacquiao faces, the financial stuff going on behind the scenes, and what this all means for their legacies. Will this improbable sequel actually happen? Or just stay a rumor? So, diving into this, let's start right there with Pacquiao's title quest. Because that's the linchpin, isn't it?
Pacquiao's title quest as the rematch linchpin.
Yeah, any conversation about a second Mayweather-Pacquiao fight, it's completely dependent on what Manny Pacquiao does against Mario Barrios. It's not just a comeback, it's like a high-stakes audition.
That's exactly right. I mean, Pacquiao stepping back in professionally after 4 years out. His last official fight was that loss to Yordanis Ugas, August 2021. Now, publicly, he says it's about passion, wanting to make history. Standard stuff, maybe, but his team, oh, they're pushing this narrative hard. Peak physical condition, feeling like he's in his 20s again. They're talking crazy speed, crazy strength, even at 46. Apparently, he's sorted out those leg cramp issues that definitely bothered him before.
And the history angle is huge here. I mean, if he beats Barrios, think about this. It'd be his 13th world title. 13. Across different weights. Plus, he'd smash his own record, become the oldest welterweight champ ever. He set it at 40, now he'd be 46. And get this, he's getting inducted into the Boxing Hall of Fame in June 2025. So a win here makes him the only boxer ever to win a world title after getting that highest honor. That achievement, holding that WBC belt, specifically that green belt, means so much that's positioned as the ultimate bait, the thing to maybe lure Mayweather out. But we absolutely cannot sleep on Mario El Azteca Barrios. He's not just some guy they picked. He's a legit, dangerous champion. He's 30 years old. That's 16 years younger than Pacquiao. He's got the height, the reach. He's a WBC champ right now, 29-2-1 record. So for Pacquiao, pushing 47, what makes Barrios so tough? Is it just the youth and size or more?
Well, it's definitely a combination. And Barrios, his camp, they know exactly what people are saying. They know they're seen as the setup, and they are having none of it. They are determined, absolutely determined to write their own script here. His trainer, Bob Santos, promised an all-out war. Barrios himself says he'll make Pacquiao regret coming back. All this Mayweather rematch talk, he just dismisses it, calls it a distraction. For Barrios, this is his moment. Beat Pacquiao, and that era spoil the party. That's huge for him.
Okay, so tactically, what's the game plan for each? For Pacquiao, it sounds like it has to be about speed, right? Experience, volume. His camp talks about overwhelming Barrios, those 4, 5, 6 punch combinations, getting inside the taller fighter, kind of like how he handled Margarito years ago.
Exactly. Volume, angles, cutting the distance. That's classic Pacquiao. For Barrios, it's the opposite. Use the youth, the size, the strength, control things from the outside, fight with bad intentions, as they say, punish Pacquiao, make him feel those 46 years. It's that classic use versus experience, but with real physicality. The biggest question everyone's asking is, can Pacquiao's legs hold up? Can his stamina last 12 rounds against a bigger, stronger guy leaning on him? And what's also interesting is the talk before the fight. Pacquiao's team, super confident, projecting strength. But then you hear voices from the Mayweather camp, like his Uncle Jeff, basically downplaying Barrios, saying Pacquiao only got the shot because of his name, hasn't done anything to earn it.
Right, which sounds like maybe he's setting things up.
Could be. Connect that to the bigger picture. If Pacquiao does win, Mayweather's side can then maybe frame it as, well, he beat a guy who wasn't really elite anyway. Kind of diminishes Pacquiao's leverage if they do end up negotiating a rematch. Smart, in a way. Anatomy of a rumor.
Yeah.
Inside the Mayweather-Pacquiao negotiations.
Okay, but how did this rematch buzz even, properly pick off this time? The way this rumor started is, well, it's pretty fascinating. This latest wave, you can pretty much trace it back to one source. Lance Pugmire, veteran boxing writer. He's got credibility, right? Known for not chasing fake news. And he posted something on social media, said he visited the Mayweather Boxing Club during fight week, spoke to an anonymous insider there, and this insider apparently said conversations are already happening for a rematch, and that it could be worth billions, if Pacquiao beats Barrios. The report even mentioned Mayweather himself was expected ringside for Pacquiao Barrios, which just adds fuel to the fire, obviously.
Oh, the timing was perfect. Absolutely calibrated. Drop that kind of news during fight week. Maximum attention. It instantly links the two events in everyone's mind. A masterstroke, really, from a PR perspective.
So how has Pacquiao handled this? It seems like he's got this dual-track strategy going on.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. He's been very disciplined in formal settings. Press conferences, official interviews. It's all 100% focused on Mario Barrios.
Yeah.
The standard line is, let's talk about it after the fight. Very professional, very focused. But yeah, in more, let's say, candid moments, off the record, maybe, his real ambition comes through loud and clear. He has made it absolutely plain he wants a real fight with Mayweather, not an exhibition. He wants to settle what he still sees as an unjust outcome from 2015. He's even accused Mayweather of ducking him, being scared to death of a proper rematch. And look, this isn't new. They teased a rematch back in 2018. An exhibition in Japan was announced for 2024, but that fizzled out too. So he's been pushing for this for a while. This is his chance, maybe the last one, to get that legitimate shot.
Okay, now let's flip to Mayweather's side. His position seems to be this. Well, this art of strategic silence. Officially retired from pro boxing since beating Conor McGregor in 2017. That's the stance. And since then, his ring activity, it's all been these very lucrative exhibitions. Tenshin Nasukawa, Logan Paul, John Gotti III. Huge paydays. Absolutely zero risk to that perfect 50-0 market.
And that's the crucial part, the 50-0. While Floyd hasn't personally confirmed anything about rematch talks, that leak coming from his camp, reported by Pugmire, it serves so many purposes. Keeps his name buzzing in boxing, lets him gauge the public interest, see if people actually want this rematch, and, importantly, it ramps up the hype and the stakes for the Pacquiao-Barrios fight. Remember, that fight's a PBC event, and Mayweather works closely with PBC, so it helps their promotion too. It's brilliant marketing, really. Lets him control the narrative without committing to anything. Plus, you also see some reports quoting Mayweather saying he's not interested, that a rematch could tarnish legacies, which, gives him a convenient out if he decides against it or if the terms aren't right.
So what this really boils down to is a fundamental disagreement, right? Pacquiao wants a real fight for legacy. Mayweather's post-retirement life is all about exhibitions that protect his legacy.
Exactly. It's potentially an irreconcilable conflict right at the heart of any deal. That's the real tension here, the financial blueprint. Why a rematch still makes billions. Or does it?
Okay, let's talk money. That billions claim. I mean, that sounds extraordinary, doesn't it? Probably a promotional hype.
Oh, almost certainly promotional hyperbole. Billions with a B. Very unlikely. But we definitely need to look at the potential finances because even if it's not billions, it's still potentially massive.
Right. So how do we estimate that? Maybe look back at the first fight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We have to revisit that 2015 gold rush.
Right.
That first fight was just a commercial monster, unlike anything we'd ever seen. The total gross revenues were estimated as high as $600 million. Think about that. $600 million. How did it get there? Well, a record 4.6 million pay-per-view buys in the U.S. That alone was over $400 million. The live gate at MGM Grand, over $70 million. Another record. International TV rights, sponsorships, a record $13 million, plus, back then, closed-circuit TV. It all added up.
Unbelievable numbers, and the fighter.
The purses reflected it. Mayweather reportedly got up to $250 million. Based on that 60-40 split they agreed, Pacquiao walked away with around $130 million. Just staggering sums.
So projecting Maypac II, okay, maybe $2 billion is fantasy land for guys nearing 50, but the potential for another huge payday is definitely there, isn't it?
Undeniable. A modern event like this, it would almost certainly be streaming first, maybe PBC on Prime Video, something like that. Yeah. The pay-per-view price, you can easily see it going past the $100 mark they hit last time.
But what would drive the revenue this time? It's not peak versus peak anymore?
Yeah. No, it's different. The pure sporting value is obviously less than in 2015. But you trade that for this powerful nostalgia factor and that narrative of unfinished business. That appeals to the older fans who remember the first time, and maybe even a younger audience drawn in by the spectacle, the names. So yeah, the first fight was maybe a sporting event that ballooned financially. Maypac II feels more like a financial play wrapped up in nostalgia, but replicating 4.6 million buys. Highly unlikely. That 2015 fight was a genuine cultural moment built over years of waiting. This is different. And what's fascinating here, the absolutely critical variable, is the nature of the bout. Is it a real sanctioned professional fight or an exhibition, a pro title fight? That commands higher PPV prices, bigger sponsorships, more global interest. An exhibition, lower risk, probably a lower ceiling financially, but still immensely profitable, no doubt.
And this financial structure, it kind of lays bare the power dynamic, doesn't it? Mayweather, through Mayweather Promotions, he'd almost certainly be the lead promoter.
Almost guaranteed, which gives him the final say on the purse split, crucially, and on the format, exhibition or pro fight.
So couldn't that control backfire if he insists on an exhibition and Pacquiao really wants a real fight? Could that just kill the whole thing?
It's a risk, sure.
Yeah.
But look at it from Floyd's perspective. That control gives him such a strong incentive to push for the exhibition. Why? It protects the 50-0 record. That's paramount. And it still guarantees him a 9-figure payday, minimum. So Pacquiao's demand for a real fight, it's not just personal pride. It's a direct challenge to Mayweather's whole post-retirement business model. It really is high-stakes poker between them, ghosts of the past. The lingering legacy of Mayweather-Pacquiao.
Okay, to really get why there's still demand for a rematch, we need to dig into the first fight again, those ghosts of the past. Because the money potential now, it feeds directly off the controversies and the unresolved feelings from 2015, right? Officially, the result was clear. Mayweather won, unanimous decision. One judge had it wide, 118-110. The other two had it 116-112. All for Mayweather. And the stats guys, ConcuBox, they backed that up. Their numbers showed Mayweather landing way more punches, much more accurately. Mayweather, 148 landed out of 435 thrown. That's 34% accuracy. Pacquiao, only 81 landed out of 429, just 19% accuracy. Way down for him.
Absolutely. On paper, statistically, it was a clear Mayweather win. Skillful defensive masterclass, some called it.
Yeah.
But the feeling of the fight, it was widely panned, wasn't it? Anticlimactic. It lacked that explosion people wanted. And there was definitely that sense that it happened maybe 5 years too late. Both guys were past their absolute best. I remember the buildup was just insane, the anticipation. And then afterwards, for so many, it was just a shrug. Like, that was it. Felt like the movie didn't live up to the trailer.
Right. And despite those clear scores, those stats, there are these narratives that just refuse to die. The biggest one, Pacquiao himself. He still says he won, consistently. Argues his aggression should have counted more than Floyd's defense, which he famously called running.
And that argument got immediate fuel right after the fight, didn't it? With the news about Pacquiao's shoulder. The revelation he went in with a pre-existing right shoulder injury, his camp claimed it severely limited him, stopped him throwing punches properly. That became the huge what if for so many fans. The excuse, or the reason, depending on your view, was it a fair fight if he was injured? Plus, you have that older, long-standing accusation that Mayweather ducked Pacquiao when Manny was truly at his peak, waited him out. And that 5-year negotiation nightmare from 2009 to 2015, that just fed the narrative that Floyd only fought when he felt the odds were safely in his favor. Pacquiao still uses that. So what's really being sold here, it's not just a fight. It's the potential answer to a decade-long debate. The controversy itself is the selling point.
Which puts Mayweather's legacy in a really tricky spot, doesn't it? That 50-0 record with the Pacquiao win right in the middle, that's the foundation for his whole TBE, the best ever claim.
It is. But
Yeah.
that lingering narrative, that he beat a compromised Pacquiao, puts this subtle asterisk next to that win, at least in the court of public opinion, for some people anyway. So a legitimate rematch. It offers him a chance, maybe the only chance, to silence those doubters for good, prove he could beat any version of Pacquiao. But at 48, against a guy who might just have won another world title, that introduces genuine risk. The risk of losing that, Nero, something he hasn't faced since retiring, which leads straight back to the exhibition, doesn't it? That's his ideal scenario. Cash in on the controversy, huge payday, zero risk to the 50 Nero. Best of both worlds for him.
Assessing the true probability of a 2025 rematch.
Okay, so after laying all that out, what's the actual true probability of seeing Mayweather-Pacquiao again in 2025? We've kind of established it all hinges on July 19th. Pacquiao versus Barrios. That fight basically dictates everything, doesn't it? Creates two very different paths forward.
Absolutely. The outcome of Pacquiao-Barrios really sends the whole rematch scenario down one of two distinct roads. Let's take Pacquiao wins. If Manny pulls it off, especially if it's a decisive win, maybe even a knockout, wow, the rematch talk becomes undeniable. Capturing that WBC title gives him a genuine, highly valuable bargaining chip. That green belt carries weight. The media pressure, the public demand on Mayweather would be immense. He'd be forced to respond one way or another. A win makes Pacquiao credible again, a real threat, maximizes the money potential. Okay, now Pacquiao loses. If Barrios wins, that effectively kills any realistic hope of a legitimate professional rematch. The whole narrative of Pacquiao being a worthy challenger to break the 50, it's just gone, irrevocably broken. But here's the paradox. A Pacquiao loss could, strangely, make an exhibition bout more likely. Why? Because a defeated Pacquiao has less leverage. His price might come down. He's perceived as less dangerous. That fits perfectly into Mayweather's low-risk, high-reward exhibition model.
Interesting point. But even if Pacquiao wins, there are still major hurdles, right? We mentioned the age, 46 and 48. Getting a major athletic commission to sanction a 12-round professional title fight between two guys that age, that involves serious medical checks. It's not automatic.
True, that's a real logistical hurdle. But maybe the biggest obstacle, it's Mayweather's pride, that 50-0 record. It's everything to him. Is he really going to risk that perfect legacy against a potentially rejuvenated belt-holding Pacquiao? At age 48, it goes against every single business move he's made since he retired. Which brings us right back to that core, maybe irreconcilable difference. Pacquiao wants the real fight for his legacy. Mayweather's entire model is built on exhibitions that protect his.
Right. So pulling all these threads together, let's try and put some odds on this. What's the final verdict?
Okay, so this whole Mayweather-Pacquiao II saga, it really feels less like a boxing story right now and more like a masterclass in public negotiation, doesn't it? It seems like the most probable outcome is whatever deal maximizes the money and protects those legacies, rather than necessarily just giving fans the fight they think they want. So, assuming Pacquiao beats Barrios, and that's still a big if, here's how I see the probability shaking out. The probability of a sanctioned professional rematch, low W, I'd say quite low. Why? Mayweather's risk aversion about the zero, the real medical hurdles for fighters their age, and his clear preference now for exhibitions. A real fight just seems unlikely. However, the probability of a lucrative exhibition bout, moderate to high. I'd lean towards high, actually, if Pacquiao wins. The demand would be huge after a Pacquiao victory. An exhibition lets Floyd cash in massively without risking the 50 loan. It gives Pacquiao his rematch another monster payday, even if it's not official revenge. Honestly, that feels like the most logical path. It satisfies the money motives for both sides, and crucially, it manages the legacy risk for Mayweather. Pacquiao saying he wants a real fight. Look, it might just be a smart negotiating tactic. Aim high to get the best possible deal for the exhibition. That's probably the most realistic endgame here.
Yeah, that makes sense. So the strategic dance continues, and the real action maybe is happening outside the ring, not inside it. So wrapping this up, this deep dive, it really shows that this potential Mayweather-Pacquiao rematch, it's so much more than just doxing. It's this complex mix of personal legacy, calculated financial strategy, and just the sheer power of a story the public wants to see finished.
It really does, and it underlines the unique spot these two guys hold, still commanding this level of attention, this kind of money, well after their primes have passed. It's pretty remarkable.
It really is, isn't it? Amazing that a fight from 10 years ago still casts such a long shadow, still dictates careers, decisions. It makes you think about how powerful narratives and legacy really are in sports. And maybe it leaves you, the listener, with this thought to chew on. Despite everyone clamoring for a real fight, what does it actually say about sports, about fame, about legacy, if exhibition turns out to be the most valuable outcome for everyone involved? Satisfying the money, sidestepping the real sporting risk, what might that mean for future super fights? Especially when legends get older and want to cash in on their past glory using new platforms. Something to think about. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
Let's get ready to